खुशामदीद एंड वेलकम बैक नाज़रीन। ब्रेक से पहले हम बात कर रहे थे ब्लड डोनर और ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट के बारे में। हमारे साथ स्टूडियो गेस्ट मौजूद है संदीप बेंस और एलिस हर्स। Both of you, before the break, we were speaking about numerous events and campaigns that were set up for Gaurav to try and get a match. Can you tell me a bit more about these campaigns? Who organised them? How did the Baines family support those events?
Well, Anthony Nolan supported us in the sense of they brought experienced volunteers, people who have done these campaigns before to register people. They brought all the equipment and everything else with them. We basically, me, my family and friends looked after things like, we'd find a venue where it would be good to do something. It would be like local temples, whether it be, any Soho Road, to be up at Gittasi, anywhere where there's Asian
community local to home.
Yeah, we try to target as many Asian people as possible. Obviously, because especially with Gaurav, Asian person who not try that to be a match for another Asian person, and. Promotion jab aap kitti see through Twitter, Facebook, social media, the best job telling people, look, we're going to be at this place, we're going to register people, try and get them onto the Anthony Nolan register, and these guys done it from there.
Alice, so your team comes out and puts on these events?
Yeah, so generally how this works is we'd call Gaurav's campaign a patient appeal, and we find that these are events that do get a lot of people signing up because it makes it real to people. They can see who needs the transplant, so they think it's something they would like to do. So how we go from that is, like Sunny said, that he looked at finding venues that would be really good to do it. We generally like these events to be really big, signing up a lot of people. So we really important, like Sunny said, doing the publicity. So we'd rely on the person that is supporting us with the event from the local area to do the publicity, find the venue. But what we do is we call out to our experienced volunteers that have done lots of recruitment events. They're skilled in signing people up, explaining the process, and we'd order all the kit that we need to come out and set up for a few hours, maybe a whole day, and run the event and get as many people signed up as possible.
And by kit, do we mean the kit where they actually spit in for the first process?
Yeah, it sounds a lot more fancy than it is, but our kit is an application form and a spit kit. So you just spit in a little test tube, and that's what we'd bring out, and obviously all the confidential boxes that we keep all that information in to send it back to our labs.
Sunny, do you know of many people? You mentioned that you signed up, your wife signed up. Is there anybody else that you know that signed up?
Obviously all our family, all our friends signed up, but there's so many people, people that we don't know, strangers that came to these events and heard about Gaurav and Gaurav's story and came to register, and it's those people I'm so thankful for. People that they don't owe me anything, kind of thing. People I don't know, they've come forward selflessly, to do a good thing and to help a little child, and it was because of those people we found our match. I mean, through Gaurav's campaign, there's a lady who got in touch with me on Facebook, and she signed up in, I think this was in Derby, because again, while we arranged these events, other people took it upon themselves to arrange events through like Anthony Nolan in their own areas.
Across the UK?
Yeah, so like I think there was one in Leeds. They've got the student university groups, Anthony Nolan have as well. Those groups was fantastic because they went to their relative universities and set things up. Yeah, there was a lady from Derby. There was an event in there anyway, and she registered at a time. She wasn't a match for Gaurav, but she's actually a match for somebody else. And she donated about 6 weeks ago. She donated stem cells. So because of this fantastic woman who's come forward through Gaurav's campaign, hopefully now someone else has a chance of a future as well. And I think that's for a child, she was saying as well, but she doesn't know any more information because she's not allowed to be told yet, but she's donated the stem cells for a child with leukemia as well.
Alice, that's absolutely fantastic to hear, that the campaign events that Anthony Nolan put on didn't just help Gaurav, but also help the child. And I think that's absolutely fantastic to hear, that the campaign events that Anthony Nolan put on didn't just help Gaurav, but also help the child. as a result, somebody else has been able to donate and help somebody else's life.
It's fantastic, and it's stories like that that are so lovely to hear. And yes, anyone that's signed up during Gaurav's campaign could be a match for anyone, not just in the UK but anywhere in the world. So all those people that join the register have possibly given someone else a chance of life.
And Alice, in the first half of the programme, Sunny mentioned that whoever's donated for Sunny's son Gaurav, they're obviously very thankful, and I suppose anybody would want to meet somebody in person and thank them. He said they were unable to, although they've had anonymous letters, communication. Can you tell me a bit about that? What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, in the first 2 years you can send, like Sunny said, anonymous thank you letters, and you could also maybe receive something back as well. But in the first 2 years, because there is a chance of that person that's had the transplant might need a top-up, so we wouldn't like the people to meet, because that might put a bit of an obligation on the person. They feel attached to it. But after the 2 years, people can meet, and there's some fantastic stories out there of people that have met and have been able to say, I owe my life to you. Very emotional.
And by top-up you mean?
A top-up of the stem cells, if maybe Gaurav wasn't progressing as had been hoped, he wasn't fighting the illness as well after the transplant, there could be a top-up, and that would ensure that he lived a full life and got over the disease that he had the bone marrow transplant for.
So has Gaurav just had the one set, or has he needed to have a top-up?
Just the once. It was his bone marrow transplant was on the 19th of December 2013, so it's just been a little bit over a year ago now.
How is he?
He's doing brilliant now. He's doing absolutely fantastically well. At the time he went in hospital on it was the 10th of December to start the process, and we was in there till the end of February. So spent quite a bit of time in there, and he's had it tough. He picked up an infection while he was in hospital as well, and he was really weak. He had to learn how to walk again and everything like that. So it's been a tough journey. It's been a tough year, but it's he's finally acting like any normal 3-year-old boy should be. He's playing up at home, diving on the sofas and whatever. So it's nice to see. We're lucky and we're thankful that it's working for him, but it's kind of at the same. We go for regular checkups with our consultant about every fortnightly at the moment, and kind of every time we do that checkup, dad blood test on here, and you got to make sure they're obviously clear, and every time we get the result back, Sarakush Changa, Tika, he's transplant, Jalda, Sarakush, then we're just thankful all the time.
ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਐਂਥਨੀ ਨੋਲਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਨ ਟੱਚ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਯੂ ਹੈਵ ਨੋ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ?
No, ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ Anthony Nolan ਨਾਲ ਹੀ in touch. We try and help Anthony Nolan as much as we can to raise awareness from everything from like last year, London Marathon, to raise funds for Anthony Nolan. So that was tough. But, anything we can do, because obviously, ECGGR to get people on the donor register, that's vitally important. But at the same time, for Anthony Nolan, it costs a lot of money per supporter like this. So any fundraising we can do, we try and do. But also with Alice, they go into schools and colleges to speak to 16-year-olds plus, and me and my wife are trying to get involved with that as well now. If we can go to, we're trying to look at, I'm personally trying to look at schools, that main Asian predominant, Japutta Jake, we can talk about Gaurav, so people understand what we've been through, why it's important for them to join the register, and that will continue always now, because our journey's not at an end, but things are looking good for us. But it doesn't stop there. Gaurav's not going to be the last person to have blood cancer within our community. It's going to continue happening.
And I think statistics show that I think at any one time there could be up to 2,000 people waiting on the register here in the UK.
Yeah, and that's just in the UK. It's about 37,000 worldwide. So we really need more people to join.
So any viewers that are listening out there, Sunny, you've made a really important point. The first is the register, which is really important, but secondly there is events in terms of they can get involved to fundraise as well for the Anthony Nolan.
I mean, anything anyone can think of, it could be anything from, if you like, running, from marathons to, often people do like skydives and kind of cake baking sales at the colleges and schools, and anything. If there's any way someone wants to raise funds, I couldn't recommend a charity better than Anthony Nolan. Cause it's because of these guys that I'm going to watch my son grow up now. He's just started nursery, and it's all because of this. So.
Alice, Sunny spoke about a programme that you've got going into schools. Can you tell us a bit about that?
It's called Register and Be a Lifesaver, and it actually works in conjunction with NHS Blood and Transplant. So we go into schools and talk to 16 plus students about bone marrow donation, organ donation and blood donation. And the idea is not to say you need to join the register, it's to give them all the information so we can tell them exactly what they need to know so they can make a really informed decision themselves about if it's something they'd like to do, if they'd like to join the registers. And we run that all over the country. You can find more information on our website.
And how old do you have to be to get onto the register? Do you have any age restrictions?
We do. We recruit people aged between 16 and 30, and we do that because the younger the donor, the more likely they are to be chosen, and that's for all sorts of reasons, that they've had less illness, they tend to be more fit and healthy, more able to donate than people that are older. And also people are only going to get older as well. It costs about £100 to put people on the register, so like Sunny was saying, as a charity, we fundraise to support the work, so we have to be really sensible about who we put on. But there are other registers there. There's the British Bone Marrow Register that people that are over 30 can join, and that just goes aligned with our register, so if anyone needs a transplant, all the registers are searched.
Another question I wanted to ask was, in terms of donating, you spoke about donating via the bloodstream. Is there any other way, or is that the only way?
No, there are two ways. The more common one is through the bloodstream, hence me explaining it really fully. There is another way that is through an operation, really straightforward. It's in less than 10% of cases. And
operation may scare people.
It might do. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I'll tell you a nice little story about a lady that's actually donated two ways, but I'll explain about the operation. But yes, it does sound scary. It's very straightforward though, and it still has the outcome of potentially giving someone the chance of life.
Fantastic.
So it's done through general anaesthetic. You wouldn't feel a thing, and you just have the bone marrow taken from your hip bones. Really straightforward, really quick. You would stay in hospital overnight.
Just one night?
Just the night before and the night after. So you'd be ready for surgery really early in the morning, and the second night is just to get over the anaesthetic. But I met a lady who is phenomenal. She joined the register over 20 years ago, and 20 years ago she donated through the operation way, and she said, I woke up and I had a bit of a sore back, but I had this feeling I'd saved someone's life. And then about 2 years ago she donated through the bloodstream, and she said, it was a bit boring because I was sat there for quite a while, but she said, at the end of the day, I know I've saved someone's life. And she said in both those instances, anything that she did paled into insignificance for the feeling that she had that someone was going to live a full life because of something she'd done.
Amazing, amazing. And what if we've got viewers out there that are maybe over 30 and, absolutely fit, healthy, no problems, no illness? Is there any recommendations that you've got for them?
Definitely. Like I said, the British Bone Marrow Register, if people go to donate blood, they can ask for an extra vial of blood to be taken, and that gets you on the register. It's really straightforward. There are other charities out there that do sign people up that are over 30, and you can find those online as well. But also what people can do to help us is help us fundraise, volunteer for us. There's so many other things that you can do. Encourage young people in your community to get on the register as well. That's really vital.
I'm over 30, me and my wife, so we done it via the NHS. I went to give blood, and they just, like Ali said, just took an extra little sample, and I was on the register. So for anyone who wants to do it that way, all I can say is it's simple.
Okay, a question to you both. There'll be a lot of people watching that may have a lot of worries, a lot of concerns, or there might be a lot of myths out there about donating. What would you say to them?
Okay, before all this happened, well, I'd say I didn't know nothing about any of this. You know, so when I heard the words bone marrow, even I was like, oh, forget that. You know, when we dad like, you think bone marrow, they're going to
take your bone out.
Yeah, they take your bone out. That's as silly as it sounds. Even I thought the
so
same.
That's a myth straight away.
Straight away, it's a myth. Yeah.
Bone marrow doesn't mean it's going to be your bone that's taken out.
Your bone marrow, it's one. It's it's very similar to giving blood. So it's not much different. I feel like an expert having gone through everything we've got of, but also what you donate, what people sometimes don't realise is your body reproduces it because you're fit and healthy. So it's not like you're giving someone something and you're losing something. Your body's going to regain it back
कुछ
anyway.
लोग ये भी सोचते होंगे कि जैसे अपना ब्लड दे देता है शायद में भी वीक हो जाना, सादा ब्लड कम हो जाना.
Yeah, no, करके जितना आप fit and healthy है क्या जितना खून आप दिंदे our own body naturally might reproduce gadalanda, so you're not going to lose anything, and the procedure is so simple to think you're saving a life. That's the way I look at it. It's not transplant when people think of like kidney transplant and things like that, yes, that is a even more difficult possibly, whereas bone marrow transplant, it's nothing like that. So don't let the word transplant get you confused as well. That's the way I look at it. It is very similar to giving blood.
I think, like you say, you're an expert, because that's practically what I would have said as well, that there are all these myths that people think that it's going to be big needles going into spines and all these horrible things, and it's not. It's very similar to giving blood. It's very straightforward. We don't take anything that your body can't reproduce, and all our donors say it's probably one of the most rewarding things they've ever done in their life. So I don't think that makes it sound like a horrible thing to do.
How often do you need to go back in? Is it just you do it once and then you don't need to go back in?
It most likely would just be a single time. There are sometimes instances where we do need to maybe have some more cells, and that might be because we couldn't get enough the first time, and that might just be the day after you first donated. It might be a year or so's time that the person, like I explained before, needs a top-up, but in most cases it's just one single donation and that's it. And because tissue tops are so rare, it's very rare that you'd be a match for more than one person.
Right. And again, all the costs are covered, so travel down to London, hotel accommodation, so people don't necessarily have to worry about being out of pocket, or if they can't maybe afford it.
We never want anybody to be out of pocket. We pay for everything that's needed. The train tickets, we make sure they're sent to your house, we pay for the hotel. You never need to pay out for anything.
Sunny, is there any final messages जो आप हमारे नाज़रीन, जो हमारे viewers आज ये प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं, उनके लिए छोड़ के जाना चाहते हो?
Myself as a father, my family, we found ourselves in a helpless position. I couldn't help my son at a time when he needed it most. You always think that within your family you'll be okay, you'll find something. It was because of the community, because of everyone out there who came forward and registered, that my son's life got saved. Because of everyone there, we get to watch him grow up now. We'll get to see him have a future. And anyone who hasn't registered, I'd urge you to please come forward. And because Gaurav's not going to be the only person who's going to be in need of a bone marrow match.
Thank you, Sunny. Okay. Alice, is there any final words that you want to leave our viewers with?
Yes, definitely. Join the register. Go onto our website, anthonynolan.org, if you're between 16 and 30, and join. It's very straightforward. If you're over 30, you can join the British Bone Marrow Register when you donate blood. Very straightforward. We don't want it to be 90% of white Northern Europeans that can find a match and only 40% of people from an ethnic minority. We want everybody to have an equal chance, and you can help us do this by joining the register.
नाज़रीन, ये था हमारा आज का प्रोग्राम जो ब्लड डोनर और ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट के बारे में था। हमारे स्टूडियो गेस्ट का मैं शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच टू संदीप बेन्स एंड एलिस हर्स फ्रॉम एंटनी मैरीलैंड। संदीप ने हमें आके बताया कि उनके बेटे की क्या पर्सनल जर्नी थी, और हमारी ये रिक्वेस्ट है आप व्यूअर्स से कि अगर आप रजिस्टर होना चाहते हैं एंड यू आर बिटवीन 16 and 30, आप रजिस्टर में एंथनी नोलन के रजिस्टर में रजिस्टर हो सकते हैं। अगर आप इस उम्र से ज़्यादा हैं तो दूसरे भी बहुत से रजिस्टर हैं जिस पे आप रजिस्टर हो सकते हैं, लेकिन आपका रजिस्टर होना किसी की ज़िंदगी बचा सकता है, आपके अपने बच्चों की या किसी और बच्चों की या किसी एडल्ट की, किसी की भी बचा सकता है। जिस तरह के सनी ने हमें बताया कि वो फादर थे लेकिन अपने बेटे के लिए 100% मैच नहीं थे। सो इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि अगर किसी वक्त मैच की ज़रूरत पड़े तो फैमिली से मिल सकता है, कभी कभी नहीं मिलता और कभी कभी 100% नहीं मिलता। सो हमारी यही रिक्वेस्ट है आज के प्रोग्राम के बारे में। हम आपको इंकरेज करते हैं कि आप रजिस्टर हो जाएं, अपने डिटेल्स एंथनी नोलन को भेजें, वो एक सिंपल सा किट आपको भेजेंगे और उस तरीके से आप रजिस्टर हो सकते हैं। और दूसरा ये है कि आप वॉलंटियर भी कर सकते हैं एंथनी नोलन के लिए, और आप ऑल्सो फंड रेज और चैरिटी वर्क भी इनके लिए कर सकते हैं। अगर आपने कोई और ऐसी टॉपिक देखनी हो या इस टॉपिक के बारे में और जानकारी लेना चाहते हैं तो आप मुझे ईमेल कर सकते हैं। ईमेल एड्रेस है healthmatters@thenew.tv। इस हफ्ते के लिए नसरीन आपसे लेती है इजाज़त। अल्लाह हाफिज़।